Anthony, I want to wrap up the week feeling with a little bit of a luxury. What do you think?
We need to feel luxurious. I wake up and I'm luxurious. I just decide my mental standard is luxurious.
Yeah. I love it. All right. I'm 2-star at best.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey everybody, welcome to No Vacancy Live. We got Anthony Melchiori in the house. I am Glenn Hausman, and thank you guys so much for being here today. Anthony, so great to see you.
Good to be seen. How are you?
Yeah, good. We have nobody backstage today, so I'm working double duty over here. So if there's an eighth of a second pause,
well, you work triple duty because you have to drag me along.
Well,
let me ask you a question. I've done this in the last 2 shows.
Yeah.
What happens when I go on complete tangents that you're not ready for?
Yeah.
And it's so customized, Anthony tangents. What are you thinking?
All right. So it depends on the mood that I'm in of the day. Sometimes I'm like, come on, bro, we got to get to the point. But other times I'm like, I don't have to talk for a little while. Thank goodness. Keep going.
Do you ever think that, wow, that's a really good question?
Oh, that's different. You're talking tangents, diversions. You always ask great questions. And because you're the operator and I'm just the curious journalist, we have really good questions that I think I ask certain things that you wouldn't ask, and you definitely ask certain things.
You ask questions that are relevant to an audience watching the podcast. I ask questions that are relevant to me.
All right. So this is great because I think we might have a few of those questions today. So that's Anthony's subtle way.
I think we're going to have a lot of them.
All right, so let's bring you to the stage today. Great guest. I'm very excited. Leanne Harwood. She's SVP, Managing Director, Luxury and Lifestyle Americas with IHG. Leanne, great to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you. And I'm so delighted I'm meeting somebody else who likes to go off and rant and rave in tangents. Brilliant.
Well, my middle name is Tangent.
Yeah. So, Leanne, this is cool because I know so many people from IHG, and you're such a truly global organization. Yeah. And if you're actually living here in the United States right now, this might be the first time you're doing that in your entire career. Because I was looking at your resume, you got a lot of Asia and, Asia Pacific, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, totally. Yes, you're absolutely spot on. This is my first time living in the US of A.
Wow. What's your first impression when you first landed here and you got settled in?
So I'm based in Atlanta, and I'd never been to Atlanta before. And I looked out, and I'm sitting here in my apartment today, and I looked out, and I just saw this sea of green, and I thought, oh my God, I so was not expecting to have this lushness in my backyard. So that was my fear. I was like,
I'm from Brooklyn. When I joined the military, I literally had somebody ask me, "Do trees really grow in Brooklyn?" I think we got a couple.
But they're usually small, sad looking, and have little support poles the city has put up to hold them into place.
How long you been with IHG?
Coming up 20 years now. First time.
So were you around during the Nickelodeon days when you guys managed Nickelodeon with us? No,
it wasn't around in those days. I was somewhere else.
Yeah, to be fair, she was in Japan, Australasia, and Pacific Managing Director prior to this. Before that, East Asia, Korea. Before that, India, Middle East, Asia, Australia. Before that, so truly a global representative.
So why move to Atlanta? Like that all seems so
made me an offer I couldn't refuse. What can I say? And absolutely, as Glenn's pointing behind him, there's a bit of a treat going on with the Regent brand launch, and what an opportunity to bring a brand like this magnificent hotel to life in the region. I couldn't say.
It's really interesting that you've only been here a little while and you have a Georgia accent. That's amazing.
Y'all, I'm pretty good at getting the y'all.
That's great. So this is really the headline of today, how here in the Americas, you're really amping up the luxury. We're all used to the Intercontinental Hotel, but Regent is really a step above. And this is the first real major entry I could recall here in the United States. But to me, it's always had this mystical feeling about it because it's a high class, high touch Asian brand about it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it is about our entry into this marketplace. You know, earlier this year, we also opened Six Senses in La Sagesse in Grenada. And that's the entry of our, you know, absolutely uber luxury, unique brand when it comes to lifestyle experiences. So we're coming out and we're coming strong.
Yeah, that's great. Anthony, you should know that this is a conversion property too. So it's really playing into the trends that we're seeing right now, conversion development. And if you could believe it, what it was before, it's really been plussed.
So talk about the conversions, especially at a high-end brand. That's extremely difficult, very nuanced, and seems expensive.
It is. Well worth the investment. So I keep telling the owners, and the owners keep telling me, right? So, I mean, particularly that hotel, if you think what they've gone through to create something so special and unique as Regent, they've literally taken a hotel and knocked out a wall in all of their rooms and have created a 2-bay room, an accommodation room for this magnificent upper luxury hotel. And there's not many owners that are going to lean in and do something so special and unique as doing that. In saying that, the rates that we're charging and expecting our consumers to pay are commensurate to experiencing a very nice, exceptional large room and quality fitting. So more importantly, I think above anything else is the service that you're going to get when you walk into that hotel. It really is quite unique, quite bespoke, and something a bit special.
So when you have a brand that's not as well known in the States, and you're entering a market that is the most competitive market in what we do for a living,
yes, how
do you separate yourself? Because those clients that you're going after are very discerning and they're very loyal, and they know what the muffin tastes like, and they know what the sheets feel like, and they probably have the muffin mix and the sheets in their house. So how do you make that crack? How do you crack it?
Yeah, great point, right? Because all of the consumers in our end of the market, this luxury end of the market, you know, they've got huge TV screens behind them, you know, in their homes. They've got those luxurious sheets, you know, Egyptian cotton, everything. And they do expect that, if not more, when they walk into a hotel. So where we give the opportunity and the differentiation is exactly that. It's the experience. People are looking for experiences now, not just, you know, the quality, the fit outs of the hotels. They are looking to be recognized, but they're looking to be recognized in an incredibly bespoke and personalized way. And that's where we differentiate ourselves.
Yeah, you said something interesting. They're looking for experiences, and then you said they're looking to be recognized. Yes. I hear a lot of companies saying everybody wants an experience, but very few people say they want creative ways of being recognized. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Okay. So for instance, the Regent, in fact, I'm heading out there next week for a meeting and getting to stay at that. He's tempting me again with that photo behind him. So I'm getting to stay there again.
At least you get to go. I'm stuck here in Long Island. Yeah.
It's fantastic. But right from the beginning, from the minute I book, they are connecting in with me. And we have this amazing role called a guest experience manager who literally connects with me right from the minute I book. And then they lead me through each and every experience till I actually leave and post leaving. It's that one point of contact. And they go and they, without being a bit spooky, they actually get in, understand what I'm looking for with my preferences. And as hoteliers, we do that, and we say that we do that in all of our brands. Reality of it is we don't have the ability with the number of employees that we have in our hotels to actually give that level of service. With a Regent, we do, right? And so when I walk in the room in that hotel, it is set up exactly the way I like it. My fridge is stocked with exactly the way I like it. That's included in my room. You know, anything that I want to do in advance is included, be it opportunities with inside the hotel with the spa or anything else, or in the surrounds outside. I find out about all of that before I actually even get there. So the minute I walk in the door, I'm already experiencing this unique service level and this bespoke service level that you don't get in any other brand. And that's incredible. As a hotelier, the opportunity to actually do that is incredible, right? Because most of the time we've got, thousands of people coming through our doors every single day. This time round, we actually can turn around and create something unique and special and just give people the wow factor. And I'm so delighted to have the opportunity to do that. In Asia, you can do that fairly easily because the cost of employees and the cost of service is just it's so limited, right? You can walk in the door and have 20 people greet you. Here in the Americas, we have to be really creative, really inventive about how we give that level of service without just throwing additional talent at it.
Right, because it becomes not affordable. First of all, I love your enthusiasm about what you're talking about today. I just see you're lighting up. So how are you able to deliver then that same exact service with fewer human resources here in a domestic property? What's the difference?
Yeah, well, that's exactly that. We use a lot of technology that actually helps us, and we interact with the guests right from before they arrive. So we're able to use the resources that we've got in a very precise and focused way, right? And so absolutely, from the morning that they're walking in the door, everybody is clued up on who's coming through the door. It is all about the way that we do it, the processes that we do it, the technology that we do it. You walk in the door, and most hotels nowadays, when you walk in the door, it says, welcome, Glenn, great to have you here, etc. It's taking that to the next level. Again, if I look at the Regent, when you go to bed at night, there's a little note that's handwritten by the housekeeper that's got, Leanne, great to have you here. Hope you enjoy your good night's sleep, and the name of the housekeeper, and signed with a little flower sitting there waiting for me. That can all be done on just the normal cycle of service, but it's just that little bit of added extra. And how nice is it to actually have a handwritten note nowadays?
Listen, Leanne, it makes the hugest difference. In fact, there's one major casino resort in Las Vegas. A friend of ours is the VP of Ops over there. She does that all the time, and people are so blown away. They always are taking pictures of it and putting it online. So not only does it connect with the person and make them feel special, but then they share that as well.
And she actually checks people. She actually checks a lot of people in the lobby. She'll check them, and she'll actually meet them, not just us, but like a lot of people. I've seen it. With that personalization, with that connection to your guests, is there one thing that you're seeing a trend that people are looking for, a way someone's communicating to you? Is there something you're picking up that you wouldn't have seen maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
I actually think it's reversing, right? And which I know sounds just a little bit strange, but I think nowadays, and what we're seeing is with all the technology that has come on and has made our lives so much easier, and so much, the journey is taken that you go on whenever you travel. It's all online. People still desperately want that human interaction. And so I'm delighted, being a hotelier, that that's still absolutely critical for this market. They want that bespoke experience. In our mainstream brands, we're seeing a shift to where people are looking to, how do I just get to my room without having to talk to somebody, right? That's a given. They just get me there.
It's a different experience that they're looking for.
Bingo, right? Where this, and in our end of the market, they still want to be recognized. They still want to know their name, have people recognize their name. They still want to be thanked for their loyalty if they're in their loyalty program. And that is becoming more and more critical as we create these guest experiences and our ability to differentiate ourselves from the competition, right? Which is, how do we do it? It's that personalization.
Yeah, and I think that doesn't surprise me that you said that, because like you saw maybe 8 years ago, travel agents started making a comeback, and now they're basically back because it's so overwhelming and there's so much technology. I always say to people that people want technology where they want it.
Yes.
They don't want it where they don't want it, right? And if it's all of a sudden, we've seen that, right, where It's like if you're drinking water and milk and you pick up the milk and you think it's water. It's like if you walk to the hotel and all of a sudden you hit with a kiosk, you can't breathe. You're like, I don't want a kiosk. I either want it on my phone or I want somebody to check me in. Like, I don't want to do work right now. And so we're really fine. I'm seeing that people want where they want it, but they definitely want that connection. And like we've said on the show many, many times, it could be a 1 second interaction, but it's got to be
bingo.
Because there's less and less connection. So there's got to be the ones that have to be premium.
You're absolutely spot on, right? I very quickly, I have managed to get myself to a top tier status in a particular airline because I'm on the road a lot, right? So, phew. But if I look at that, I still get so excited and I still love it when I turn around and get an upgrade because of my status. I'm like, yes, I'm up, I'm heading that way.
You know the pain of being first loser as well. Yeah.
But even more so, I still love it when I put my phone down, on that scanner and they turn around and they go, thank you very much for your loyalty, Mrs. Harwood. Great to have you back. I go, oh, great, thanks, right? And I know that they're trained to do it. And I know that it's part of, what they do every single day, but it still makes me go, oh, look at me.
But isn't it interesting in that one interaction you've had interactions where that person just says it, and then there's an interaction that they look at you, they smile, and they go, thank you so much for being, like, they're saying the same thing, they're just saying it differently.
How, right? And that's a big part of it. It's a culture. And one of the big things that we're focusing on in our portfolio of hotels is that culture of actually, I've coined a phrase. I want to take our business from excellence to exceptional.
Right.
How do we take it from what's absolutely already, crackingly good to exceptional, those exceptional moments where you really passionately care and you want to make people smile, right? That's why I got into the business a long time ago.
So, Leanne, I'm going to ask you a more philosophical question about culture and stuff like that. I know you're new here in America. Yeah. So what is the culture, generally speaking, of the American worker, if you could answer that, versus one in Thailand, versus maybe in the Middle East, versus in your home country of Australia, for example? How do you compensate and think about those cultural nuances ahead of time so you could get them from that good to great status?
Yeah, great. First, there's one small little thing that I'm going to pull you on. Yeah. I'm a Kiwi.
Sorry. As soon as I said Australian, I'm like, I think this sounds like more like a New Zealand accent. I should.
Okay, just so you know, you just made the biggest fatal mistake you could make.
I'm good. I'm gonna I don't even know how I'm gonna be able to recover from this.
Listen, I once called a friend of mine who's from Spain. I said, "You're from Italy, right?" And it was like I killed his mother.
I'm okay. I've got both passports.
Maybe I'll make a couple of Flight of the Conchords.
But how often does that happen to you on a weekly basis in America?
All the time. But what I am so delighted about, when I used to come to the States 20 years ago, nobody knew where New Zealand was. Thank goodness there's been a few movies that have promoted us. And now they go, and actually a lot of people hesitate and go, just before I say it, is it? Where is it? So no, all good. God, now I've got on a tangent. Where were we going?
Yeah, if you'd like, we could just talk about the Lord of the Rings movies for a little while.
Hey, we can do that. They were great.
Culture.
Okay,
let's grow up in our different cultures and how you compensate to get people from good to great.
Hey, thanks, Glenn. So actually, the thing that I've found interesting in living in all of these different places, right? And so I think I'm up to 12 different cities and 9 or 10 different countries now. The big thing for me is that the hospitality and the want to deliver great service is the thread that goes throughout all of the countries, right? People, yes, they do it because they need to earn money. I'm not blind to that, but there is also a reason why they've come and been and worked in a hotel versus working somewhere else, versus working in a retail shop. It's because they get a joy out of giving a great experience or making someone smile, right? You are making a difference in someone's day. And I think that's the thread that goes through in each one of those countries. What is different is how they do it. So I spent a number of years living in Thailand, and you would walk in the door of a hotel and they would all be sawadika as they bowed to you and welcomed you into their hotels. And so there's an element of service, and it's not diminishing, or I can't think of the word at the moment, but it's not servile, I think is probably the way to explain it. But there is a definite level of I'm here to serve you, where in other countries like here in the US, it's very much I'm here to create something unique and special with you, and that's my role in our partnership as we go through this journey. So service means two different things, and I really over the years stopped calling it the service industry, because I truly believe it's the hospitality industry.
Yep.
And I think that's the critical piece and the shift. And that, as I said, threads throughout every country that I've worked in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down what you're saying because, we had Jerry Angelillo on, and I don't know if you know Jerry, but he's a friend of ours and he's a friend of the show, and he says it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a servant. I'm here to serve. I am here to serve. And when I first got into the business, that's how I feel. I still feel that way.
Yes.
I am not, like I said, I'm not overly a people person, but I like making people happy. It's what I do. So again, one of my tangents, I wanted to know the first moment you were like, I'm going in the hotel business and I'm never coming out. And I've been, just so you know, I've been in business 40 years. So I've been in a little bit longer than you.
And by the way, this is more a non sequitur than a tangent, for the record.
I'm close to that, so not that far behind you there, Anthony. But for me, it was I went to go and work in a place called Queenstown in New Zealand, which I thought I'd go and work in a bar at night, and I would, ski all day. And inevitably, I ended up turning around and going, I'm actually going to spend all my time working in the bars, and that started my career. I just absolutely loved it. Right, I did. The joy I got from being behind the bar, the buzz, the vibe, the interactions, the fun, right? Where do you get paid to actually go and have fun when you're working? That for me was just a big aha moment. And then I worked out that, hang on a sec, this thing that I do where I go to work every day, I can make people feel good and I can have fun. I can take that and I can travel the world and live in all these amazing places. There was no coming back. That was it. That was it.
And you said something is like fun, right? Yeah. And I was, for many years I was operating, developing hotels, and then I kind of took a sidetrack and was doing entrepreneurial things. And now I'm kind of working in a consultant role with a company where I'm working in the company with them. And, and I see there's a change in kind of before COVID, I hate to say it, and then after. And what are you seeing? One of the things that I hear from a lot of companies, obviously, and I'm sure you handle it, is it's becoming a much more financial driven proposition, and we're taking the fun out. I have a very strong opinion about that because it's always been a financial proposition, but it's up to the GM or the assistant general manager to bring in the fun. And kids today or people today, they don't want to work so hard. How do you deal with that? When people say that?
Yeah, interesting. I like you go, it's always been a financial proposition. I completely agree, right? There's I don't know any owner that sits there and goes, let's open a hotel just for the fun of it, right? There is always
there's a couple of billionaires that compete against each other. True. But besides them. Could you
introduce me to more of them, please? I think you're absolutely right. I think it's up to the general manager to create the culture inside their own hotel. It's also up to us as leaders inside our company and inside our organization to create a sense of accountability, but also a sense of fun of what we do every single day. And they are not opposing, right? Those things are not at the altar end of what we're trying to create in hospitality. You can genuinely feel it when people want to come to work every single day. You can genuinely see it when somebody is interacting you, as you were saying earlier, and saying, hey, Leanne, it's great to have you here. Thanks for being here. Love your loyalty, etc. And so that culture of enjoyment, that culture of purpose of why I come to work every single day is so incredibly important. And And it's why I've stayed with IHG for, nearly 20 years.
And like 5 name changes. That's
yeah,
all.
exactly. And yet I'm still here.
Is there a question you use in an interview that helps you know if these people come to work
Good question.
happy? Is
Yeah.
there one question that you use that's unique?
That's a really good point. There isn't one specific. Actually, when I interview people, for me, I actually want to get to know them as a person more than I am interested in what their functional qualities are and what their expertise is, because I believe that you can learn and you can teach skills of accounting and everything else that you do. What you can't teach is the fire in the belly, the passion, the joy, right? So I spend a lot of time getting to know the individual, and I ask them about their family, their friends, what they like to do on the weekends, what makes them happy, what brings them joy in their own life. And just through asking those questions and seeing how they respond gives me a real sense of whether they're going to be able to bring that to what they do every single day, or whether they are the type of person that arrives at the office, takes their personality out, puts it into the, into the closet, then shuts the door on, and then comes back out again. I'm not looking for those people. I'm looking for people who are equally as passionate as I am.
Yeah, I love that. Anthony, you feel satisfied with that answer?
I got a million more, but go ahead, Glenn. Apparently you work here too.
No, this is good. I really like this. I will tell you guys, this is what I love about doing this show is sometimes somebody comes on and you go in a totally different direction than you thought it would. I thought we'd be talking about more of the mechanics of the financials and your goals for all of this. But I love that we're really breaking it down to a people level and talking about it in a different sort of way.
Well,
Anthony?
if I'm going to buy your brand, right? If I'm going to go to your hotel and I know the person sitting, in the corner office, I don't want to say at the top, so I don't like doing that, but in the corner office, and they're in charge of the brand, that inspires me more than, well, this is where we're going and these are the numbers and this is what we're doing. Your personality inspires the brand.
Thank you.
And if you want to hear me talk if you want to hear talk about interest rates and all of that kind of stuff, I did a great interview with Julianne Smith, the Chief Development Officer of Americas at the Hospitality Show that I ran, and you can see it on novacancynews.com and
she is literally one of my favorite people in this business.
Me too.
So, that being said, Regent's a pretty big proposition over there, right? And we started by talking about the guests, and it's new to the country. So who is your guest? What is their familiarity with it? My guess is that you have more of a global class traveler already, and you probably have a leg up. So it's not a brand new introduction. But where would you say we are?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So this is the 12th region that we've opened globally. And as you know, it's the first region into the Americas. So we are absolutely uniquely lucky in the fact that we have a way of shaping this brand within inside what we're looking for the Americas. And the fundamentals of any brand that we bring into a market remain the same, right? We know that we're looking for that upper luxury guest. We're looking for the discerning guest. We're looking for the guest that really is not going to nitpick about, how much they spend on a cup of coffee, right? That's not this guest. And there is a substantial number of those people sitting here in the US. Interestingly enough, they go to Europe. Or they go to Asia, or they go to somewhere else to experience that level of luxury. So we are delighted that we're actually able to say, hey, that's great. We want you to go to our Regents over there in Carlton Khan. We want you to go to the Shanghai on the Bund, but actually come out and hang out down here in Santa Monica, and you get the same experience that you're going to get there. So they're absolutely here. They are, and so far, I mean, we've only been open a couple of weeks, so it's the early days, but already we're getting a lot of guests coming in staycations from around LA, which I find absolutely fascinating, right? I thought we'd be getting them in from international and also across the US. That's coming. But great to see that our locals are supporting us and just wanting to come out and try the Michael Mina new restaurant that's in LA and at Guerlain in the Spa. Fabulous.
Gosh, this sounds absolutely fantastic. So we didn't even talk about Intercontinental at all. Where we just quickly before we run out of time here today, where are we in the United States with that? I'm a big fan of the LA property because I got to see it while it was being built with hard hat tours and all of that kind of stuff. And also got a really good rate there during COVID. So.
And I was with Tishman when we built the Intercon in Times Square.
Oh, seriously?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, great. You just picked two of my best properties. Fantastic. Well done, guys. Thank you. Absolutely brilliant.
Well, the architecture and design of those properties is incredible.
Yeah, it is. And the beauty, I think, of the Intercontinental is that it spans everything from the Intercontinental Barclay, right, which has just the most amazing history.
And for people that don't know, right, it's a historic structure that's been there forever.
Absolutely. Sitting there in New York and just offers you that old worldly feel for the minute you walk into the lobby with a huge chandelier. And the same with, we've got the Willard in Washington, D.C., which again is the same. And then you go and you shift all the way across to the Los Angeles and New York Times Square. So we're really excited about Intercontinental because it's absolutely going through a resurgence and we're signing new deals. As you know, we've just signed the Intercontinental Orlando, which is in construction at the moment. We literally opened the Intercontinental Riverwalk in San Antonio last month, which is fantastic. And their neighbour, we opened the Kimpton Santo just around the road. So this sector is absolutely going through this growth spurt, and we're delighted we're at the front of it now. Brands are really leading the way. Which is
I think from where I sit, I've been around long enough to see the change in the brand.
Right.
And, I think that there was a few years where it got lost. And I think then it started. I think it may have started around the time, I could be wrong, the Intercom was built in New York, and I started to really see a shift in the branding and in the brand and in the level. I still remember being in the room with the designers when they were designing the back of the front desk, that whole glass area.
Oh, fantastic.
I was in the room when they were doing that. And I had an idea that I lost. I wanted to do a little pizza place out of that little gift shop area in the corner. And I wanted to put I wanted to put pizza ovens, but you couldn't walk into it. You had to go outside and you had to wait outside the window, and it would only be open from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And then you would vent it out, and you would on that block, 44th, I think, you would smell the pizza. Nowadays, where everybody is going to the latest thing, I thought that would have been the hottest thing, but I got shut down.
Okay, so when you see a pop-up like that happen, you come and call me and say, hang on a sec, Leanne, that was my idea. And
Right. You should still go back and take a look at that. That would be, because it's a perfect space. It's small. They opened up a coffee place and then they closed it. Anyway, so I really, really, really like the hotel. I had left the company before we opened the doors. But actually, my first boss, my first general manager, Ian Schrager. I don't know if you know, Ian Schrager? Drew Schlesinger. You know Drew Schlesinger?
No.
Okay, so Drew was the first general manager there. And it was interesting. He was my boss. He was my first boss. He was my GM. And then I was the first vice president of Tishman. So he was the GM. So
I love that. And if you talked about a little bit earlier, Glenn, when you were turning around and saying, we've taken it back to people. That's the stories, right? It's exactly that. You've recounted, your experience with somebody who had an impact in your life throughout your career. And that's, I think, what I love about this industry, right? Those general managers, and particularly the Intercontinental general managers, right? They are just the next level. And they just start people's careers. They help them.
He helped my career. He hired me spot on. I was in Honduras in the Air Force, and I was such a pain in the butt. I called 100 times as he was opening a different hotel in Times Square, and I called him so many times that he said, "You're a pain in my butt. You want to be the night manager?" I said, "I do." He changed everything for me. And then when I was with Tishman, we hired him to be the general manager at the Intercon.
Yep, I just love that. Jolene Bulle, who's our CEO of Americas, About 20 years ago, he picked up the phone. And I was actually working as a director of sales and marketing in a hotel in Tahiti on an island. And he picks up the phone, never met me before, but he's like, Leanne, I've heard all about you. I want you to come and join IHG. So 20 years ago, I hot-footed it across to Sydney, joined the company. He left to go on, taking on another job somewhere else in the world. And I was like, okay, thanks for that, thanks for that, dude. And then 19 years later, I get to come and work with him here, sitting in the Americas. And that for me is one of those stories like you're talking about. He impacted my life so much by bringing me into the company. And now the opportunity to come back and work with him sitting here is just so unique, so special. Right?
Your reputation in our industry, in every industry, but this industry is so small.
Absolutely.
And it's like it's on a fire truck.
Yep.
And your reputation has sirens on it, and it runs the streets like a fire truck. And if you don't have a solid reputation in this business,
yep.
you see the resumes. They start here, and then little by little you start seeing it going and going and going. But then you see the ones that maybe started at a very limited service hotel, and they're running a luxury brand. It's people in this industry more than I think any industry want to support you. They want you to be successful.
Yep.
Especially now. I think times have changed. I think now people want to see you go for your goal because there's plenty of opportunity.
Absolutely. But you're so right. And, I hate to say the big C word as well, but, back in COVID days, we lost so many people from our industry for all the reasons that we know, right? They needed to put food on the table. So they left our industry, and we really, really were hit for a number of years. That passion and that dedication to our industry, thank you, is so critical. It's reminding people that you can turn around and you can start your life and your career in this industry, in a bar or, in a kitchen or in a restaurant, and you can become the global CEO of, the third largest hotel company in the world. How amazing is that? I don't know any other industry that offers that.
No.
And we give them the support every step along the way.
And when I talk about, I'm actually going to write it down because I'm doing a class next week and I want to remember it. There's one word that we use in this industry that's the most important word to get you promoted. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the most outspoken, but you have to be the most reliable.
Yeah.
And reliability in this industry is critical because it moves fast. There's a lot of money at stake. And when somebody says, hey, can you do this? And you say yes, just do it. If it almost kills you,
yes.
It doesn't matter because you said yes. Yes. And I've been in many positions where I didn't know what, to this day, I still don't know what the hell I'm doing half the time. But I say yes. And that yes scares the crap out of me because I just gave my word. So now I'm going to go do it. And reliability, I think, is a word, another word we don't talk about enough, is the key. The reason you're successful is because you're reliable.
Yes. Yes, you're absolutely right. Reliability. I also like to say accountability as well, right? Because when you're doing it right, and you know that you've got a safe pair of hands, and it's I've got this, right? Because
I say reliability from the other person's perspective. That person's reliable. I say accountability myself because I want to be reliable. You can't. They can't be mutually exclusive. They're the same, right? I'm accountable to me, so I'm reliable to them.
Spot on. Love it. Could you come and talk to my teams as well?
Yeah, he can. He sure can. Hey, Leanne, any final words before we wrap up today?
It's been an absolute pleasure. And I've got to tell you, I've just loved being able to talk to two people that are equally as passionate about our amazing industry. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. You're absolutely wonderful. And we'll see you on the other side. Now, obviously, Anthony, this show was so good and you've been taking notes, but you're going to want to re-listen to it. And the best way to do that is to get us in a podcast form wherever you download your shows or rewatch it on Facebook, LinkedIn. NoVacancyNews.com is where we house all of our shows. Any final thoughts, Anthony?
I just want to hear Leanne say Tahiti again.
Yeah, all right. We'll do that. We'll do that off air, or I can make a recording of it for you. All right, everybody. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.
It's absolutely amazing show on Tuesday. Monty Bennett, a guy that you will be surprised you haven't heard of before. Bye.